Despite what you see on social media, things aren't always what they seem. This clip you're about to see is from an episode of my podcast, Happy Accidents, where I'm interviewing Michael Peterson. And he talks about what he saw behind the scenes, behind closed doors, when he was dealing with highly successful, powerful men.
They were mentally broken. They were physically broken. Relationships were broken.
Check it out.
What I found fascinating back then was that these men, because that's who I worked with, and I really I'm most effective with men. It just masculinity, I don't know what you want to call it.
Right. Yeah.
And it worked very well. But what I was fascinated by was these men were really successful in Portland, Oregon, written up on the front page of the newspaper and all that. Sold company for 85 million, blah, 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 entrepreneur of the year, CEO of the year. But when I would meet them and go into their homes, these men were broken. They were mentally broken. They were physically broken. Relationships were broken. They were either divorced or their marriages were in just complete disaster. Disaster. And back then I was probably 28, 29 years old. And when they'd shut their 12-foot solid wood door on their $5 million home, and I got inside those walls, I saw a different picture. And I was astounded by that because I always say this, nobody knows what somebody's going through behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So on the public side, you've got to paint this rosy picture. And that's fast forward now, that's social media. That's social media, right? Most people on social media paint this picture that's not true. It's
the
not
highlight
true.
reel.
It's not real. So because of that, I started, some of the people that were hiring me for the digital marketing near the end were men again. And I would have a man that read my book, Dominate Your Market. And it's written very aggressively. It's a very, very aggressive book. Chapter 1, don't bullshit yourself. That is literally the name of chapter 1. And it's all about your health, well-being, your mindset. So I put that in chapter 1 because if you don't have that first, you're not going to be successful running a company.
Right.
If
That's
you're
your
broken
foundation.
mentally and physically, right?
Yeah.
And so these men were reading the book, and I didn't know it at the time, but basically I wrote the book for that demographic. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. And I would get men calling me up and doing a Zoom and holding the book up. And one gentleman here locally he said, we're talking because of this. And he held my book up. And I go, well, why specifically? And he goes, well, what I really liked about it was you were a no bullshit guy. You said it like it is with no fluff. And this particular man did triathlons. And he said, I love that you tied in the health and wellness and mindset with business growth all together. He said that I've never heard that before. And so that really allowed me to pivot and have people realize that I kind of cover those 3 pillars of mindset, health and well-being, and marketing, business growth, all together.
Yeah. So again, another kind of unintentional happy accident here. Check out the full conversation with Michael Peterson by going to the link in the description, take you to the full episode, and you can dive into everything that we talked about.